NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
As an adult, don't we all miss spring break? Nothing like taking a week off from all your responsibilities. Well, here's the next best thing for adults, a spring break from house payments. SaveWithConrad.com can help you get rid of all your credit card debt, just like that. We're routinely helping our listeners save $5, $6, $7, even $800 a month. And you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to do this, but check this out, no house payments for 2 months. At SaveWithConrad.com.
Deletion! My skin's dying because you're under it. I'm done lying to myself for this. For all the wonder and believing that it's making me weak. I'll fade away and classify myself as obsolete.
Words are about to be spoken here on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, presented to you by the Ad Free Shows Network and Podcast Feed. I'm Jon Alba, joined as I am every single week by the broken one, the woken one, the spoken one himself, Mr. Matt Hardy from the Hardy Compound this week. What's going on, buddy?
Yes, I am based out of the Hardy Compound this week. I am not at Dynamite. There will be a package on Dynamite tonight talking about our match and the build-up. And this has been a really long rivalry that has been going on between myself and Ethan Page. I think we are the core of it. We're the nucleus of it. But basically between the Hardy Party and the Firm. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So yes, I am here, and Friday we are ready for the Great Wall, as Broken Matt would say. And Friday is going to be a big day, and we're very excited about this airing on AEW Rampage.
It certainly is. We are in episode 70 of the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. How crazy is that? It seems like not so long ago we were dealing with all those tech problems with you and Jeff at the Hardy Compound for episode 1.
Right.
Nuts. Episode 70, and we have a good one. We are talking about you and Jeff, Backlash 2009. But before we do, we are going to spend some time previewing the Firm Deletion and talking about some of the stuff going on in AEW right now. But I believe, Matt, I see another chair there next to you.
There is another chair. You know, it's whenever we're at the Hardy Compound, there's usually going to be some surprise cameos, and I do have one specifically right here for today. I have the oldest son of House Hardy, King Maxwell, bust onto the scene.
Oh, doing the Rey Mysterio entrance. I love it. I love it.
What's going on, Maxwell? Do you have anything you want to tell your people?
Grape juice.
Oh boy.
Grape juice. All right. Well, we are very excited to have King Maxwell on this podcast with us. And later on in this podcast, we are going to watch your I Quit match between yourself and Brother Nero, Tio, as the kids call him.
Yes.
Maxwell, have you ever seen that match between your dad and Jeff, the I Quit match? Never.
You haven't. Let me ask you this, Maxwell. So the only way to win this match, and just like you and Wolfie,
Just say I quit.
is to say I quit. So would you ever say I quit to Wolfie?
No. I would just keep going. I don't think it'll take me down. I think we'll have to quit this.
You think Wolfie would quit?
Yeah.
Would you make him quit? How would you make him quit? With what kind of move?
I don't know. Maybe one of my made-up moves?
All right. What about the tornado move?
Yeah, I made that up.
So Maxwell do this thing whenever we're out in the ring. He will grab Wolfie or Barty's arm, and then he will start swinging them around, and he'll be like the center, and he'll swing them around until they lose their footing, and they'll bust their ass into the turnbuckle or into the ropes or whatever. And he calls it the tornado. And he says it's one of his signature moves. And it's a little more of a shoot move than a wrestling move, but Maxwell makes it work.
You should show him some of the moves that Claudio does, the swing, the UFO spin. I think he'd be pretty impressed with what your buddy Claudio is able to do. Maxwell, who is your favorite person in AEW aside from your dad and Tio?
Who you like? Come on, spit it out.
Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy. I had a feeling that's who you were going to answer. So they met each other in Raleigh and they hit it off real well. And I told Maxwell, I said, Jungle Boy has hair very similar to yours.
Very much.
Their hair matches up a lot. So they started talking about hair, and Maxwell loves his hair long and digs it. And he had a good time when he met Jungle Boy. They bonded. They clicked.
Well, maybe you'll get a new click going there with the Hardy Party and House Hardy. Well, we can't wait to see what is in store for House Hardy this week because it is the Firm Deletion. As people get this episode, it is coming up on the special early edition of AEW Rampage, so make sure you set your DVRs. Hopefully, we'll be seeing it online as well.
Yes.
I can't wait for this match, Matt. I've heard there are some pretty high expectations all around. What's the buzz? What's the latest? What can we look forward to with the Firm Deletion?
I feel like this Firm Deletion is going to be a little different than any of the other deletion matches that have taken place on the Hardy compound. I think we have walked a very fine line with this thing that's going to be airing tonight. Originally, it was promoted for being 5:30, but I think now Rampage is on at 6:30 because it has changed time slots because of the playoffs. So I think we're going to be walking a very fine line where we're still going to give you the classic moments and entertainment of a Hardy compound deletion match, but we're also definitely going to fulfill the taste of pro wrestling and violence and some amazing athleticism within the match as well. We have 8 insane athletes. We have some surprise cameos. I'm going to tell you, House Hardy is going to be lurking in the scenes, and they would love nothing more than to get their hands on one Stokely Hathaway, especially as I've been talking so much trash about the kids and about my wife and about Senior Benjamin, all of House Hardy. So I'm telling you, Stokely, watch your back when you're here on the Hardy compound.
Yeah, Maxwell, let me ask you. Stokely Hathaway called you out personally. He said that he was going to get your Disney Channel subscription canceled. What do you have to say to Stokely Hathaway?
Who be Stokey?
Who be Stokely?
How bad do you want to get your hands on Stokely Hathaway, Maxwell?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
It's pretty much guarantees that he wants to get his hands on Stokely.
Wow. Well, I know that there's one person in that house, aside from both of you, who would love to, and that is Mama Hardy. And if I were Stokely Hathaway, I'd do everything I can to avoid an encounter with Mama Hardy. How's she?
I mean, for sure. I mean, I think Stokely is going to be running from all of the wrestlers, right? I mean, he's going to be running from a Matt Hardy. He's going to be running from an Isaiah. He's going to be running from a Hook. He's going to be running from a Jeff Hardy. But like, if he happens to run into the house, I mean, the house is going to be full of members of House Hardy. That would be terrible. Something terrible might happen to him if he decides to do that. That's all I'm saying. And by now, people have seen this. I took the remains of Vanguard 1 and dumped them into the Lake of Reincarnation, which was in the countdown to the Firm Deletion Part 2. So we're hoping that this great soldier, one of my finest warriors that we lost on the battlefield to that hole of the ass, Chris Jericho, a couple years back, we hope to have him back in action for the Firm Deletion.
Is the bear still there?
The bear is still there.
What bear?
You know the bear in our house?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the bear that looks real vicious.
See,
that Edie and Marty
what
are
I-
sometimes afraid of.
What I love so much about that is that the abnormal is so normalized in the House Hardy that
Oh yeah.
Maxwell had to be like, "What bear?
Yeah,
Oh, right,
yeah.
there's a bear
I mean,
in our
there's
living room."
legitimately an 8-foot tall bear, which looks deadly, like, you know, in our foyer. That's so funny that Maxwell didn't even think of it right off the top of the cuff.
Maxwell, let me ask you this. I know all the members of the House Hardy bring something to the table, but I think the scariest one is Gothic Baby. Why should Stokely Hathaway be afraid of Gothic Baby?
Scary baby.
She's a scary baby. I think Gothic Baby will curse you.
Oh, yeah.
I almost feel like she's got some witchcraft in her vessel. You know, I think she could curse you. I think she's an old soul in a new vessel. That's what I think. Because when she gets that deadpan look, sometimes she looks at me like that in the morning when I go in there to grab her. You know, she's a tough character. She's definitely her mother's daughter.
Even though she looks quite a bit like you, to say
Yeah.
the least. But
she has that personality and a little bit of that temperament too. Like, she's cute and she knows it. If she's not getting her way, she knows that she can play those cards.
I like the sound of it. Maxwell, how do you feel about being a big brother to a girl? I know it's the first baby girl in the house.
Yeah.
What's cool about it?
That's she's very nice.
It's very different from boys, right? It definitely is. I feel like you're more protective of her more than anything.
It's so great seeing all their interactions together. I saw the video you posted of Barty with the straw babies. I know that's one of your favorite things to
Oh my God.
get a good pop out of that.
He still says that. He still says straw babies to this day. One thing he hasn't changed, Maxwell. How did Barty used to say your name? Maxwell. Maxwell. And he said that forever. Then one day he just stopped and he just said, Maxwell. Maxwell. And what'd you say?
Stop.
Yeah. And he still wanted him to talk like a baby because it was so
Well,
cute.
I'll tell you what, I think
He
Barty,
sang it again. He said messes.
Oh, he did?
Now he's saying it again.
All right.
I think Barty's just ahead of the curve and he sees this an opportunity to sell some gimmicks off of this, truthfully. So maybe we'll be getting ourselves a straw baby shirt over at boxofgimmicks.com, which of course you can check out. You can see I'm wearing my Matt Fiction shirt, one of our favorites over there, boxofgimmicks.com, among many, many others. We'll let this episode play out with our Let It Play Out t-shirt as well. You know, you got the goods over there, Matt. Not only do we have the Firm Deletion coming up for AEW, but AEW, as we tape this, did more than 40,000 pre-sales for this all-in Wembley show.
Yep.
Unbelievable number. What's your reaction to that?
I mean, I felt pretty confident that we could expect 50,000 or so when it was all said and done. And it might surpass that quite a bit. I'm not sure, but the 43,000 mark in 36 hours, if I'm not mistaken, is what TK said, is really impressive. And I think that really shows AEW's power as a brand across the globe. Because I know people are going to be making the hike from all around Europe to come over there. I saw people from Germany today that were coming, from Ireland, from Scotland, obviously. I saw a couple people from Italy that were heading there. So it's going to be really, really cool to be at All Out, and it's definitely going to be the biggest house, the biggest attendance ever in the history of AEW.
I also think it says quite a bit about the appetite for pro wrestling in the UK right now.
Yes.
I feel like the UK really got screwed with the pandemic when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And the promotions really struggled overseas there. In the rebound of that, we saw the WWE Clash at the Castle show last fall did amazing numbers. And I think All In it's going to set a standard for AEW. Could you see this laying the groundwork for a United States major stadium show for AEW?
I could see this being a blueprint for a major United States stadium show. I really could. And I think it's one of those things, like, you know, sometimes people talk about AEW, how their audience just maintains usually around high 800,000. You know, every so often we pop into the million, especially if there's a lot of competition going on or whatever. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Speaking of that, there's Gothic Baby coming with gifts. Thank you very much.
Gothic Baby making an appearance on the Extreme Life.
And she wants it.
Yeah. All right. Where's your mother at? Yeah, you better go check with your mother. Make sure your camera ready.
Yeah, because if she's not,
I don't want to get heat over here. More stinky and poor. But yeah, man, I really think that there are some people, you know, they go like, oh, AEW's stagnant. You know, they get these numbers, they get whatever, and it's just, I don't know. TV is.
Are you talking about my other podcast? Or?
Maybe so. Maybe they do say that. But I think once again the demand, like some of the houses that we've been doing, take her out, please, Maxwell, for a few minutes, and just you can stay out with her. Oh, I see she's coming up here. I guess she must be on the camera when it's all said and done. All right, goodbye. Okay. Thank you, Maxwell. Just watch her for a little bit.
We like the chaos.
Oh, guys, it's a madhouse here.
But this is authentic. This is authentic.
There's opportunity. Yeah,
this is
chaos, there's
how
opportunity.
I agree. I agree with that entirely. But yeah, you're right. I mean, look, there are going to be people who say, well, it's stagnant. The numbers aren't moving, but this is tangible, right?
The demand, it is tangible, and it's the demand for AEW is still growing. Even the last few events and houses that we've had have, when it comes to like live events for these TVs, the attendances in the venue have been really, really strong. So it's been doing well, man. And I think it's still growing. People are still learning about the brand AEW. I mean, once again, at the end of the day, it's 4 years old, you know, so it is really just starting the journey, and it's hard. It's hard for a wrestling fan not to compare it to WWE, and WWE is just so much further ahead. Their brand is so ingrained in global pro wrestling lore, So AEW is doing a great job. And I think this is a very strong statement just about the power of AEW and the AEW brand and how there's such a demand for it, especially selling over 43,000 tickets in 36 hours, in a brand new market, which is great.
The last thing I'll tee you up on, and I know you're not entirely at liberty to speak about everything because of these circumstances, but we've been hearing these reports for months now that AEW is going to be adding this third show, Collision, which is going to be set for Saturdays. We've talked a little bit about it. But with that, the AEW Dark and Dark Elevation shows appear to be on their way out for now, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be a thing that's going to be happening anymore. I know a lot of people on the surface will say, oh, well, they were just periphery shows. They didn't mean much. But I think you and I can both recognize that there was definitely value in Dark. And in your case, Dark was the lifeblood of keeping your feud with Ethan Page alive for so long. Is there anything you'd like to say about those shows going away?
Yeah, specifically Elevation. I just saw this today. I didn't know. I had heard at one point they were going to take like 2 weeks worth of Elevation and 2 weeks worth of ROH and then back and forth. But that's pretty demanding, especially if you have to tape before and after. And like TK loves to fill up his wrestling programs with a lot of matches and a lot of content, So hats off to him. That's what he wants to see. That's how he likes. And he's the guy, that is paying the bill. So it works. Whatever he wants.
Let's fucking go. We got 17 matches today. Let's go.
Yes, sir. One of the most hilarious things ever was just some of the nights whenever we would do a live TV, and then we would have tapings afterwards, whether it was Elevation, Dark, or whatever, and we would tape a few weeks worth. I mean, there were mornings where every top star in the company was there until 2 or 2:30 a.m. in the morning taping. There was one time I was going out for a main event on one of the shows, and the young boy said, "Can you believe this? They've got the legend Matt Hardy here till 2:30 a.m. in the morning going out to wrestle when he's already been on Dynamite and he's cooled down for 5 hours. This is insane." But it was wild, man. Every time we'd go back to the hotel, Tony would have full course meals for everyone. It'd all be set up, and the brotherhood of the locker room was so great during that time. Everyone hung out, did their things, and it was really, really a tight clique.
I love. So with Dark going away, is that a little bittersweet?
Yeah, I think so. I think once again, like Dark and especially Elevation, which is what we typically did at TVs. Dark was mainly done now, like in Orlando, but I feel like that both Dark and Elevation, I think it was a great testing ground, especially if someone wanted to try something new. If you had someone that wanted to experiment with some sort of angle, or if you had someone who had started an angle and for them to be able to supplement it on those shows. For example, in the case of myself and Ethan Page, there were a lot of amazing things that we did on those shows, which I would imagine would be in the package that aired on Wednesday on Dynamite, as it was supposed to be kind of a story of the whole program and everything coming together. So it is a little bittersweet because I think it's good too to have guys that might not get big wins in matches on TV to be able to, give them wins and spotlight them on those programs as well. I think it's a good spot for those guys. So yeah, it is moving on, but apparently there's a new deal that's been signed and everything is going to be exclusive to Warner Brothers Discovery, I guess now, of their programming.
Which is good for the company, AEW.
Right. Is that what you understand, John?
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. So
yeah,
it seems like that would be an excellent route for AEW, and that's more money in your pocket. So I'm sure the roster's got to be happy about that at the end of the day. Yeah, man, Dark was a great platform. I mean, I've had 5 people that I've managed on the indies appear on AW Dark. And I just think that's the coolest thing ever because Tony's a big proponent of that and big into making sure that the indies have guys seen and girls seen. And some of those people have gotten signed, Action Andretti. Those people, it's big opportunities.
Well, I mean, Tony Khan said from day one, he said that Dark is his, that's his developmental territory. That's how he develops talent. He said he has guys come in. He said that he looks at them and, as opposed to sending, someone to an NXT and, pay them and have them work there for a month and try and teach them your style while doing that. I mean, they come in, he basically sees what they are. He would give them feedback, maybe try and work on this, try and work on that, whatever, or the people underneath him would, not specifically Tony, but then they would go out in the indies and they would do their thing. And then they would come back and do another Dark. And there are a lot of people that got hired through that process. So yeah, it was I feel like it was a pretty wise form of developmental.
I would agree with that. Now you got Ring of Honor in your pocket as well to work with. So lots of good stuff
Right.
going on over there. We are talking about the time that you faced Jeff Hardy in an I Quit match. And before I can ask you about that, Matt, I have to ask you first, please hit us with a Matt fact.
Matt fact, Matt now partakes in hot sauce because of Rebby.
So you weren't a hot sauce guy.
I was not. I wasn't very big on hot sauce, but now I started dabbling in it a little bit, and especially like anytime we get Mexican when there's some rice and beans, I'll put the hot sauce all over it. And before I just wasn't crazy about it. It didn't make my experience better, but somehow now I have learned to enjoy the experience. Are you a hot sauce guy, John?
I'm all about that. I love
Yeah.
me some spice. I don't care even with the acid reflux. I'm about the pain is part of the path. I'm about it. Hey, I've got a bunch of different hot sauces. I've made my own hot sauces. I'm all about that. Maxwell, you're shaking your head. You're not a hot sauce guy?
You're a hot sauce guy?
Why?
Well, you got to say no. Use your words, dude.
No, I'm not a hot sauce guy.
Why don't you like hot sauce?
I don't know, just too spicy.
Too spicy.
I think we've made our own one. And
Too
it's really-
spicy, too hot, right?
I think we've made our own one that isn't like hot sauce, but like pepper juice. It's really spicy, Mama said.
She made that, right?
Yeah.
She
Well,
she
we all did.
she
Yeah.
does.
We used to have a garden. We picked peppers, and then we put it into this jar, and then it's been sitting in that jar for years, and now it's really spicy. Apparently, Mama said.
I mean, these Puerto Ricans, and I mean, you're part Puerto Rican. I mean, these Puerto Ricans love their spices, Maxwell. So her and Senior Benjamin, they're all about it.
Yeah, we
Spicy.
call that picante.
Yes, that is picante.
Rebby Hardy is a little picante
Yes,
most of the time, and hopefully we'll get an appearance from Mama Hardy a little later on here.
I think
Let's
so.
get to it, Matt. We talked all about your WrestleMania match available in the archives with Jeff Hardy, and now we have a chance to actually dive into the fallout of that because your feud did not end there. In fact, the night after WrestleMania 25, you are involved in a 10-man tag for the ages. It is billed as a WrestleMania All-Star match. John Cena, CM Punk, Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat against Chris Jericho, Edge, Big Show, Kane, and yourself. The babyfaces get the win, but my goodness, man, this, in terms of star power, has to be one of the craziest matches you've ever been a part of. What do you remember about that?
I remember all of the Hills wanted to interact with Ricky Steamboat, and I think everybody wanted to sell for him. They wanted to get chopped, or they wanted to take a crossbody. Everybody was super excited to interact with Ricky Steamboat in this match.
He came in and did that WrestleMania match with Jericho, and the other legends were there. And, Snuka was what he was at that point. Piper was what he was at that point. But Dragon got in there, and he tore it up with Jericho. What do you remember the sentiment being like when Ricky came back in for this run here?
I mean, it was great for him to do that appearance. I mean, he'd been around doing some editing and producing and stuff at that time anyway. And he'd always worked super hard to stay in shape. Even when he did his technically considered last match, it was at Dorton Arena a while back. I was on that card. I actually wrestled Crowbar on that show. He looked great in that too. It was a 6-man tag where he was in there with FTR. But Ricky has always been one that has taken care of himself and stayed in shape. And, God willing, his health was good enough that he was able to do that and call it his last match technically, but he was still great. Being an older guy, he busted his ass and he worked so hard and he was so excited. He was like a little kid whenever we were wrestling after we had the match with Jericho and that 10-man tag we had. It was so enjoyable, so much fun.
Tony was very nice.
Oh yeah,
He was nice enough to give me this. That reminds me.
you're right.
He gave me
That's
this.
right. Tony, the guy who helps us out with a lot of appearances, actually gave Maxwell this. This was signed by Ricky Steamboat.
Oh,
So
look at
it's
that.
like-
For those of you who are watching on the Matt Hardy brand YouTube, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a personalized Pop Funko, and he gave it to Maxwell. And Maxwell said, "No, I don't think I can have it." He said, "No, it's okay." He said, "I want you to have it." He said, "You did real good." Maxwell, he made a town with me. Went to the convention and we hung out all day. And he went around, looked at some Pokemon cards, and it was so cute. Every time someone would come up to sign, Max would say, "Hi, I'm signing autographs today too. And he would just let them know, and he was ready. And we'd already determined, myself and Rebby, we're going to get you an 8x10, and then we'll have some for you to sign, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go put this back.
That was smart, Maxwell. That was a great mention. I loved how you're paying attention.
They'll sell a lot more 8x10s than I do at conventions. I promise you that. King Maxwell knows what's up. But for you, the Macho Man mark to be in there with Steamboat, we obviously know all about the WrestleMania 3 match and everything. Yeah. That just had to have been so special for you.
It was. I mean, I was a huge fan of Ricky Steamboat too. I remember I loved the series that he had in Ric Flair with Ric Flair back in 89, 90, the Wrestle War match and whatnot, when they had that. I think they had 3 different matches that were all excellent.
They're considered to be some of the best matches of all time.
Yes. Yeah. They were all so great, and then there was obviously the deal that he had with Macho Man at WrestleMania 3, which that a match I love so much. And then I thought it was cool, even when he came back to the WWE and he had that like over the top dragon gimmick where they had him wearing the outfit and breathing the fire. Still always been a huge fan of Ricky Steamboat. And it was so cool I'll tell you this, when I went to school at UNC Charlotte, I learned that Ricky Steamboat had a gym out there. And I was just so excited. And I was like, if I'm going to go train anywhere, I'm going to Ricky Steamboat's gym. And I went out there and I got to see him a couple of times. He rarely came in. Abe Jacobs, an old wrestler too, ran it. And I actually got to talk to him and know him a little bit and told him I was doing some indie wrestling. And it was so cool to run to Ricky Steamboat. Then I got to tell him that story years down the road that I actually signed up and I decided to train in a gym, which was his gym, just because of my love for him and pro wrestling.
Well, that was just a match that they got out of the way. Again, the baby faces get the win here, but and you weren't involved in the finish. I should make that clear. We get to SmackDown, where you are cutting a promo. You say that what we saw at WrestleMania, it was an all-time WrestleMania moment when you beat your brother in an Extreme Rules match with an extreme twist of fate. And you said that Jeff was an extreme disappointment, that for years you had been the other Hardy, but no more. Is that the case? And you wanted to offer an olive branch of sorts. You wanted to give Jeff a chance to apologize for letting people down. And that if Jeff didn't apologize, then he would leave the ring strapped to a stretcher and he will never wrestle again. And as Jeff hits the ring, you escape. But holla holla, Teddy Long, SmackDown GM extraordinaire, says, we got a draft coming up, but not only do we have a draft coming up, I'm going to be the ones calling the shots. And later on tonight, playa, we are getting a Hardy versus Hardy stretcher match.
I got to tell you, I was blown away. He didn't say, and I'm going to put you in it. Let's have a tag team match, playa. It was a stretcher match.
You didn't go one-on-one with The Undertaker quite yet.
Yeah.
Quite yet.
Yeah.
Because we'll get to that.
I think you materialized that, though, at that moment.
We haven't talked about Teddy Long all that much on this show. What would you like to share with people about Teddy?
I get along great with Teddy. I love Teddy. We would have our little shtick that we would do whenever we interacted with one another, almost like myself and Ron Simmons. We got a little shtick we'll do with each other. But Teddy was a great guy, man. I enjoyed him so much and enjoyed his company. And he was just a super entertaining guy on top of all that.
So we're putting a stretcher match on free TV. What do you make of this decision?
I think they put myself and Jeff in an environment that we could excel in, which I thought was a positive. And we just came off this Extreme Rules match at WrestleMania. So I felt like we needed something that wasn't just a regular match to continue this thing. And I think they wanted me to keep the momentum up on Jeff, especially because they were going to push me as hard as they could as a heel and see if I could get like legitimate heat through all this, especially past this angle. And I feel like the circumstances of a stretcher match were okay. I didn't mind it. It was a different match that I think could really highlight myself and Jeff's strengths.
Did we know that we are getting a blow-off match at Backlash at this juncture?
We did. We knew that was happening at this juncture for sure.
Okay. You do end up winning this stretcher match. Jeff does a swanton off the top rope, lands on the stretcher. You smash him with a chair. You push him up the ramp. You cross the line to win the match. And then eventually you kick the stretcher with Jeff on it so it rolls all the way down the ramp and collides with the ring. Leave it up to the stunt man. Was that a Jeff Hardy idea?
That was specifically a Vince McMahon idea. Vince specifically wanted that. He wanted me to win, and he said, yeah, just push it like this. Be a real dick about it. That was specifically a Vince idea. And Jeff was like, oh yeah, sure, cool, that sounds great, let's do it. And it did come off very prickish, I thought.
You got to feel pretty good at that point about how you are being portrayed on TV as a player here, a major player. This is the first time that, V1 did very well in its own right as a heel, but you are a top heel on WWE programming with this feud. How were you feeling about the way that you were presented?
I was happy with it. I was happy that they had enough confidence in me to give me those wins over Jeff. I knew we were going to the blow-off eventually, but we had already started talking during the process of following that stretcher match. There were plans in place that if this continued after Jeff got the blow-off win and like went on to do his thing, that me possibly working with John Cena, especially if I still had heel momentum. So that was really exciting as well.
What was Vince taking away from this program? Was he happy with the results he was getting out of it?
Yeah, I think so. And this is the first time in my career where I really was all in at trying to be a heel. I think whenever I first did Mattitude version 1, I feel like there was a part of me that still knew I had to be entertaining because I still had to kind of keep up with Jeff. And I knew Jeff was just such a beloved act who was loved in every capacity, whether it was his personality, the way he act, the way he wrestled, everything about him. So like, I felt like I wanted to be a heel, but I felt like I could be a heel in an entertaining way where I could still like people like, I got to see this Matt Hardy version 1. What's he going to do tonight? He's so funny. He's so entertaining. I was looking for that because I definitely didn't want to get lost in the shuffle. I didn't want to come out and try and just be a straightforward heel and then become like a boring heel that people don't give a shit about. It was really important to me that I maintained entertainment value at that point. But fast forward to this feud, like I kind of had this fan base that was loyal. They were going to follow us wherever. And now I'm doing this thing with Jeff, and I like really fully committed to like being a heel in this deal. And I felt confident in doing that. And I think Vince could really see my effort in trying to, in a very confident way with conviction, be a full-fledged heel, someone that people are trying to boo that has no redeeming qualities. I really did my best to relinquish my fear of being an asshole, and just go out and be a straightforward heel.
And also when you're a character like V1, that is very much a mid-card heel character. And I feel like when you're a mid-card heel, you almost have to lean into the entertainment aspect. Like that's what the mid-card is, right? The mid-card is kind of this great combination of entertainment and action. And you get these great workers that work in the mid-card, but there's this very entertaining aspect of them that you always walk away from one of their matches. You're like, man, you know what? That was one of my favorite matches of the night. And whereas in the main event, you're typically much more story driven and focused on the gravitas of being in that upper card, that main event. And you don't get as much of that wink and a nod-ness. Does that make any sense what I just said?
It does. I mean, because like, once again, at the end of the day, the main event are the people that are supposed to be drawing you money, and they're supposed to be the more serious issues that people are really invested in more than anything else. It's not, it's nice when it's entertaining, and I think that's beneficial to it. But at the end of the day, it needs to be like serious rivalries that people really want to see a strong conclusion to, a definitive conclusion to. And a lot of times the competitors that are in those spots are pretty serious and pretty straightforward because they're kind of carrying the company.
Maxwell, how much mattitude do you have? Do you have a lot of mattitude? You have a little mattitude?
Mattitude was one of my things. That was one of my gimmicks.
Little V1?
I was Matt Hardy. I was Matt Hardy version 1, and I had all the mattitude. Do you have Maxwelltude?
Maxwelltude?
You don't know?
He doesn't know.
He's stumped by this.
He's stumped.
he's not fully educated in attitude yet.
Well, fortunately, he's got the archives at extremehardy.com in which he can go check out all of our stuff that we've talked about. Mattitude, he's nodding his head. He knows. You go over to extremehardy.com. You can check out the Matt Hardy V1 episode. But there's also, Matt, the fantastic archives with our friends at Fite Plus, because Fite Plus is the ultimate digital platform for live sports and entertainment. They're now offering a free 7-day trial at tryfite.com. Fight Plus is packed with premium live events, schedule over 1,000 hours of live action every year, a library of more than 4,000 hours on demand plus exclusive content. You can find a ton of Jon Alba content there. You can find Matt Hardy content there.
Yes.
Fight is a great partner of ours. They support us, so let's support them. Give them that free 7-day trial, and you'll be a member for life. That's tryfite.com, TRYFITE.com. Who knows, Matt? Maybe we'll be seeing the Hardy Boys Jr. on Fight one day. Maxwell and Wolfie Hardy. It's very possible.
Maybe Hardy Boys. That's what I used to call you. And I think now I've switched up to the Hardy Boys second gen. The Hardy second gen. You know what that means?
Second version.
Second generation. Close enough. Yeah, second version.
B2,
Maybe
if you will.
B2, yeah, indeed. So who knows? A lot of the AEW programming airs on Fight TV. So maybe you'll be on Fight. Who knows, Maxwell?
Very well could. AEW's there, Ring of Honor's there, Impact's. There's so many great companies. Make sure you go check them out. They're big supporters of the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. You can find them once again at tryfight.com. Let's keep things rolling here, Matt. You win this stretcher match, and then on April 13th, you get drafted to Raw. So is that kind of telling us here that the end of the feud and the program with Jeff is on the horizon?
Yes, I think so. And the plan always was to end up going in separate directions with us as both the singles superstars.
How'd you feel about leaving SmackDown? You know, you went to SmackDown after the Edge feud. A lot of people thought you might have maybe should have been the one that walked out on top in that Edge feud, but instead you go over to SmackDown. You make the most of it. You have this fantastic run with MVP in the United States Championship, this program with Jeff. Was it a little bittersweet being drafted off SmackDown?
Yeah, people really like SmackDown. I think SmackDown was kind of like the sentimental favorite to a lot of people because like Raw was definitely Vince's baby and it was the flagship show. So he was very hands-on with that. And I feel like people could get away with a little more on SmackDown, even like myself and MVP did. Vince had a vision for Raw and he knew exactly what he wanted to do. SmackDown, there was a little bit more wiggle room in there to do your own thing. So yeah, it was a little bittersweet to be leaving, but also I did know if I was going to continue my path as a single superstar, it's better if I'm on a separate show from Jeff. That's always been Vince's feeling. I know about it since day one. He's like, it's hard to push two Hardys as single stars on one show because it'll get confusing. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily true. It might be possible, but that was definitely Vince's mentality.
Can't have two Shane Helmses because, man, they'll confuse him with Shane McMahon.
Well, yeah, you can't have a Shane Helms because they'll confuse him with Shane McMahon, yes. You can't have anybody with the same name.
Oh, that always has popped me for some reason. Who was the main showrunner at that time for SmackDown? Obviously, Vince is overseeing everything, but is Michael Hayes kind of the one leading charge there?
Michael was pretty prominent on both shows at that time. I'm trying to think specifically at this time who the head was specifically there. I am trying to recall.
Not,
I want to say it might even been Ed Koskey.
I was going to say, is it Ed Koskey?
It could have been Ed Koskey.
Yeah. I mean, Koskey was part of creative there for a really long time. Bruce Pritchard was out of the equation at that point. Koskey sounds like that might be the answer. So anyway, you get drafted to Raw. And on that episode, you defeat CM Punk via DQ when Jeff runs in and he actually interferes. And Punk seems kind of miffed that Jeff cost him the match. Was that some teasery as to what was to come later in the year with them? As we know, we've covered this on this podcast. They would have a pretty prominent feud.
No, that happened to be happenstance.
So Punk just happened to be a little pissed.
Yeah, they had no idea that was going to be going on later at that time. That definitely hadn't been, wished into reality at that juncture.
Also that week on the same taping, you faced The Undertaker on Superstars, which is wild. WWE had just launched Superstars.
The very first Superstars, yeah.
It was the very first one. This was on WGN. They're bringing out the heavy hitters, and they need a big match to draw. And Matt, they give you the nod there to go one-on-one with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Tell me about this match, man. That's a hell of a nod that they're going to put you in that spot. You end up losing via count out after you walk away, and then Jeff comes in, throws you back in, you eat a choke slam.
Right.
That's a pretty big mention for you to be in there with The Undertaker on this inaugural show.
It was cool. I mean, they really had high hopes for the superstars whenever they first launched it. And I know they wanted to make it into a bigger deal, than some of the old shows or the old superstars. But as we all know, history, it kind of went the same route eventually. But they did have high expectations in the beginning. And I remember they said, like, yeah, we want to give him a huge match. Let's do Matt Hardy versus Undertaker. It'll be great. It'll be great. Let's go.
What was Taker like to work with at that point in his career? You and I have talked about this. I feel like Taker was legitimately putting on some of the best matches of his career at the point. He had just come off the Shawn Michaels WrestleMania match. How'd you feel where he was at that point?
He was great to work with. I enjoyed working with Taker, and at that point, our relationship was really good. And he was really open to doing things. I remember being a heel, he let me put what is called the leech most recently, that submission hold on him, and he was down to do that. I mean, he was really open to do lots of stuff. So he was very enjoyable to work with.
That's a big nod for you, man. You get a chance to face him on this big show, and that takes us into SmackDown, where the Big Show defeats Jeff Hardy. How about that? You're ringside. Jeff goes after Big Show. He blocks Whisper in the Wind, knocks him out with a right-hand punch. After the match, you enter the ring and you slap the unconscious body of Jeff. You drop some elbows, you drop some leg drops, you got a smirk on your face, you put your foot on his stomach and you raise your arm to celebrate. That is some pretty heavy imagery there, and for Big Show to just kind of knock him out. Intriguing booking. What do you make of it?
I think Jeff was also suffered from that being so over as a big face that nothing could hurt him. And I feel like Vince's mindset in this was like, it's the Big Show. He's a very legitimate, credible main event player. He can knock him out, and then it gives Matt the opportunity to be a real piece of shit heel and take advantage of him at the end, especially leading up to what was going to be our blow-off in a few days or a couple weeks.
Paul White, someone we actually haven't really talked about a whole lot on this podcast. It kind of blows my mind we haven't. Someone you're still working with today,
right?
AEW. What was your relationship like throughout the years with him and working with him as part of the Hardy Boys or even as a solo guy?
It was great. It really, really, really good. There's one story he tells a lot, which is so funny. I wrestled him on the main event of a Sunday Night Heat, right? This is right when Jeff and I were doing single stuff right before I was about to turn heel and do Matt Hardy version 1 Sensei of Mattitude. And I was giving him, I said, hey, can I do a moonsault body block off the top turnbuckle? I think this is the point where they really wanted to push Jeff. He was building towards his Undertaker thing, and he was over, and I'm like in the best shape of my life, and I'm having great matches, and I feel really good about where I'm at in my personal career, and I'm trying to kill it every night I go out on Sunday Night Heat and just, really show people like why you need to go with me, why I'm a good selection. And I asked if I could moonsault body block him off the top. And we did the moonsault body block, and you can see the footage back. It's he was maybe a little far. I was a little short, whatever it may be. And I still hit my knees into his upper chest, whatever. And we went down. He caught me great, took care of me. But I know he's told the story to me. I said, remember that time that we were on Heat and you did that moonsault off the top turnbuckle? We said, I had to reach out and grab your ankles and then pull you on top of me just to save your life. And not you would have landed on your head. And I was like, well, that's
a little revisionist history.
that's a little exaggerated. I see that clip a lot. That clip pops up every now and then on my on my feeds. But yeah, he's been great. He's been great to work with at AEW too. I can go out and buzz him on the story of whatever we're doing. This whole thing with the Hardy Party versus Firm rivalry, he's been really good at trying to hit points. And when we were getting along, selling, I don't know, I think they're friends, they're on the same page. It's good. And he really gets it from that aspect. I feel like if you make that transition from an in-ring wrestler who's telling stories to being a commentator, it helps you out greatly as far as telling the stories of other wrestlers in the ring, because I feel like it gives you a bit of an advantage because you know how to translate not just the story from the match you're telling, but also from the physicality and the actions and the interactions.
I think he has unfairly gotten a lot of shit from a lot of wrestling fans because of how he was booked over the years, which is no fault of his own.
Right.
He was very inconsistently booked in WWE, and I think there's a lot that he contributes to the industry. What what you've witnessed have been his biggest contributions to AEW?
I mean, I think he's been really good at working with big guys. I've seen times where he'll grab, like a Wardlow or a Hobbs and like say, well, think about doing it this way as a way for a smaller opponent to get you down, which obviously, there were times where people had to chop him down, especially when he was the Big Show. And nowadays in pro wrestling, that has to happen a little more because it isn't the day of the big lumbering giant. That's not where we're at in pro wrestling. The whole style and size has shifted and evolved, and people have to adapt to it. And I think he's really good at planting seeds in some of the bigger guys' minds, some of the guys that are bigger and more muscular, about having creative ways to be chopped down a little bit or to sell. I think that's a great benefit he offers those guys.
You think Vince took him a little for granted?
Maybe. I mean, I think Vince kind of takes everyone for granted to a degree, except that one top guy. I mean, like Vince usually has like one person. He kind of puts his eggs all in one basket, and that's kind of the guy he's trying to like, put the company, on their back. He's trying to do everything he can to elevate them. Bless you, Maxwell. I was just thinking about this. The way you've moved so much, your mother would have kicked you out by now. Just try and be still. Just enjoy. Even if it's not your content. But I think Vince would take like one person and try and build the company around them, so to say. But then if he saw someone else that got hot or he wanted to cycle them out and change them, he would. But he's always looking for that one key figure to kind of try and build the company around. And I think besides that, unless you're like an Undertaker, someone that's been there for your entire career, or Shawn Michaels, whatever, I feel like most other people that are like doing great stuff, even if they get like red hot or white hot, like Daniel Bryan, for instance, when he did his thing, he got red hot. I think a lot of these guys Vince probably takes for granted because he just feels like they're interchangeable.
I just think that Paul got really overexposed by Vince, where he was this really special talent coming in, an athletic 7+ foot giant coming in.
Right.
And I mean, I don't have to explain this to anyone who's watching or listening to this podcast. You saw how he was booked over the years. He'd be a world champion, and then the next year he's the New Year's baby in a diaper. And that's how that guy was booked. And I just always felt like, and plus there's always the meme, right? Big Show always turns. He turns every week.
Oh my God, yeah.
I just felt like they really did a disservice to him, but it seems to me like he's kept a pretty good attitude throughout the years.
Yeah. He has, and I think it's also once AEW started and once it became real and it was like an alternative place that people could go to work at, I think that was one of the first signs where Paul White was just like, all right, well, let me try this other place because I've kind of had it here, especially the way there was some kind of promo that they had done. I don't even know what
they did a Legends night, and the Legends basically were crapped all over the entire night. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back when it came to Paul White.
Understandable, because listen, Paul White, he's a legend, and he got himself in some amazing shape. I mean, he is literally in the best shape of his life right now, and he looks fantastic. And Matt, I've got an inkling as to why he might be in the best shape of his life.
Well, I do too. I'd already asked him, and I knew the answer in advance because he's taking his AG1s, Jonathan.
He is taking his AG1s, Matthew, and the reason he's doing that is because he knows with one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. It's a special blend of ingredients that supports Paul White's gut health, his nervous system, his immune system, his energy, recovery, focus, aging, all those things. Have you seen that dude's six-pack? He has abs.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of his system, he has a big system to take care of and keep healthy. So AG1s is doing the trick for him.
Because AG1s are lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. They contain less than 1 gram of sugar with no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, artificial anything, while still tasting good. And they support better sleep quality and recovery. And Matt, boy, do I need that, because I feel like I had a single Matt Hardy week this past week where I was making all the towns all over the country. And boy, I could use AG1. This is a shoot, by the way. We're getting off a pontoon boat in Nashville, and all of my buddies are totally hungover. And they're just like, they got no sleep. They look like crap. I go to them, if you head on over to athleticgreens.com/Hardy, you can find an all-in-one nutritional supplement that's going to help you feel great, because the reality is, Matt, tons of people take some kind of multivitamin. So it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body's actually going to absorb. And AG1 is a small micro habit with big time benefits. It's one thing that you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. If you had been taking AG1 when you were King Maxwell's age, imagine you'd be a superhuman right now.
I'd be a superhero right now. Are you kidding me? And I really wish your buddies that were hungover, they should hit your stash of AG1s. They would have kicked out. They could have kicked out, Maxwell.
Because I was
1, 2, kick out.
Well, I was kicking out, then pinning down this past week in Nashville and San Francisco and Fresno, and I had my AG1s with me because it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D. And how many free travel packs with your first purchase?
5 free travel packs.
King Maxwell, how many free travel packs?
5.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly
Say it
right.
like this. You know what 5 is in Spanish? Cinco. 5. Hit it.
5. C.
Cinco.
5. C. 5 Cinco.
There you go. 5 free travel packs. I had them on the road with me this past week, as should you. All you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Hardy. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/Hardy to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Hey guys, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Need to call a timeout real quick here. I wanted to tell your listeners what I've been telling my world listeners for a while now. It's about all the incredible things happening over on adfreeshows.com.
An all-new edition of The Insiders is here, as Conrad welcomes David Saadi, the man behind so many iconic video packages WWF fans grew up on, including one that left Vince in tears.
You got it. And Conrad, I swear, I walked outside the studio, and Vince was sitting down on the concrete floor, crying hysterically, just saying thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. I went up to told Kevin, he says, good job, can't wait to see it. 15 minutes later in the stairwell, Vince is still sitting down in a different spot now, crying, saying thank you. Thank you.
Jim Johnston created the soundtrack for generations of WWE fans, with some of the most iconic themes in history. Jim sits down with Conrad to take us behind some of those classic themes, including The Ultimate Warrior.
And then I recorded that. And then just over that, you're just doing. It's so simple, but that's what felt like him.
Hey, that's just a small taste of what Ad Free Shows has waiting for you, including a brand new perk, getting to join in on the live recordings of the shows with 4 levels to choose from. See for yourself why Ad Free Shows is the best value in wrestling today. Sign up now at adfreeshows.com. That's right, sign up today at adfreeshows.com.
So, Matt, holla holla, Teddy Long books you versus Jeff in an I Quit match for Backlash. And you're happy about this. You say you're finally going to make Jeff say the 2 words that will make his fans turn on him, the 2 words that will erase him from his world. I quit. Why was it such a big part of this story in trying to utilize the fans against Jeff? We talked about the You People promo, but it seems like you're leaning into that authentic audience connection that Jeff has that we talk about all the time here.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a very, very blatant jealousy, that just really made me resent him for being so popular. And I just wanted to take those people away from him, and I was going to do whatever it took. And, maybe in the warped mind of the Black Cloud, Matt Hardy, that's kind of what I was calling myself, even though we didn't go there during that period. I feel like in the warped mind of Matt Hardy, if I make him say, I quit, then those people are going to turn against him. and then maybe they'll support me. Who knows? But I feel like that was probably the core of our whole issue. He had always been historically more popular than I have, and that fan base that he has, they don't understand what they're getting. It's a facade. It's not real. You're just seeing something that isn't real, and I'm trying to convince them all and change their minds that he's not real, and you should abandon him. And I feel like that's kind of like what the story was, and I won them on my side when it was all said and done.
Now, the next night, you're working on a European tour match with him. By the way, you win all these European tour matches, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But things go a bit awry. A little excerpt here. PW Torch's James Caldwell reports that Matt Hardy needed stitches due to an eye injury he suffered in a match with his brother Jeff on Thursday night. The match was a street fight. It took place in Cologne, Germany. JR mentioned it briefly in his latest blog entry. It doesn't sound like Matt will miss any time due to the injury, but we do see you on TV with a black eye. Do you remember how this went down?
If I am not mistaken, in these matches we had, there were no DQ matches. I want to say
they were street fights.
Street fights. So we used all those objects. I want to say that Jeff gave me a leg drop with a chair underneath his leg. I want to say he like jumped and like the chair was either on my face or he held it underneath his legs like Sabu would do and dropped it on my face. It just caught me like right where it's really easy to bleed, right on your eyelash there, like, you know, where boxers get sliced and cut all the time. I got one of those, which it wasn't bad. Just got a few stitches in it and, you know, rubbed some dirt on it and kept carrying on.
Kind of makes you look even cooler as a heel too.
Yeah. You know, as all the old timers used to say, it's good for the business. People would go back there and they'd get their face slashed and have to go, oh, don't worry about it, kid. It's good for the business. You know, this could all be good for the business.
Well, on SmackDown, you and Kane face Jeff and Punk. It's a tag match in which you roll up Jeff for the pin. So you are 3-0 against your brother in this series going into the pay-per-view. What do you think of that booking? And my follow-up to that would be, why the hell does Vince McMahon love roll-ups so much?
I mean, I thought the booking was good because once again, it gave Jeff Hardy something to obtain. He had to overcome something, and what he was overcoming was the fact that he couldn't get one over on his brother, who was obsessed with him and would do anything, take any shortcut to win a match. So the fact that he was doing that, and he was finally going to get that blow off one day down the road, I think that was all great. So I was very grateful that Vince put me in that position to have all that momentum to let me be dominant over Jeff until that blow off scenario. And I think that was his mindset behind it. And then even beating Jeff at that time. Oh, look at this. We have more cameos. Now maybe Gothy maybe is camera ready.
This is like perfect timing too, by the way.
Yeah. So then I feel like Vince does roll-ups like that because he feels like it looks like a fluke win and someone's not beating with their finish clean. I think that's why he does it. I don't think he necessarily loves roll-ups. I think he loves fluke wins. What seems like to him fluke wins, and that way it keeps people more strong. That's kind of what I think his mindset is.
Well, now that we got the House Hardy here, I think it's time to watch this match, don't you?
It is, yeah. We might as well.
Look at this, guys. We got the House Hardy in the house. We got Rebby. We got Maxwell. This all ahead of the Firm Deletion. This is called Synergy within the program.
That's why we're here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, House Hardy getting ready for Firm Deletion, looking fondly back on family memories. That's what it is.
Hey, anything you want to say about the Firm Deletion?
No, I don't want to stooge anything off.
Well, of course you're not. I mean, it happens tonight. I mean, in anticipation for it.
In anticipation.
I mean, I know you're going to be in this house. What
It
is
was like 2 weeks of preparation, and they left trash everywhere afterwards. I spent 2 weeks cleaning this dump, and then they left trash everywhere afterwards.
They clean up a lot.
My favorite part is when I cleaned up everything and stored it into like little rooms, and then I said leave the doors open, and then the final shot is all the doors open and you see all the trash in there anyway.
Well, then we did just what you said, because I said leave the doors open.
No, leave the doors closed.
I'm just saying you said that accidentally.
Yeah. Okay, well, I meant closed. Okay.
I know.
Well, I see we got Gothic Baby here as well.
We do. I don't know how much she's not. Are you interested?
Are you interested?
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, my favorite part is Gothic Baby. Can I say that? Gothic Baby
We'll
is
see.
my absolute favorite
Okay,
part
so
Okay,
we'll-
okay, yeah, maybe we can say that.
of the Firm Deletion.
Okay.
We can say that at one point, Gothic Baby, and she will be strongly represented.
I mean, it's her house. You can't
is
show
her
up
house.
to her house and not expect,
Of course not. But anyone who loves a day in the life of a Gothic Baby TikTok, they will be extremely entertained by her interaction in this match.
That's called crossover. I like it.
It is major crossover.
Hey, listen,
All right.
TikToks get more viewers than AEW. I'm just kidding. No, but they really do.
You get more viewers and listeners than the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. I promise you that. So, but we are very excited to watch this I Quit match. I assume you probably haven't seen this match, Rebby. If not, okay, perfect. And Maxwell told us he hasn't seen it before either. So we're going to get your reactions. If you're watching on Peacock, guys, cue up the cock. Go on over to 5610. That is going to be, that's our bit, Rebby. We say it every
Yeah,
time.
cue up the cock.
Right.
I'm sure you love that.
During your late night text combos. Yeah, cue
Yes.
up the cock. Got it.
No,
That's what Matt and I text.
it's just the
I look
timestamp.
over at night and he's smiling at his phone. And you're talking about queuing up the cock. I get it, buddy. I get it.
No, the best part is he's like smiling at his phone. It's like 1 a.m. and you think it's some hua and it's me, which is equivalent.
And I ain't wrong.
And you ain't wrong, right? Exactly. NWA. That's how we do things around here. Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. All right, 5610 is the time code. We're gonna press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin. The handsome Justin Roberts in the
I
ring.
like that sign. I want Hardy to win. I
Yeah,
like it. I like your style.
It's a safe
You
bet.
see that? He
Yeah.
says he wants Hardy to win on the sun.
Which
My
one?
gut says
I don't
Hardy's
know.
gonna win this match.
Yeah, I'm saying, but it won't be the Hardy that was on WWE programming. It'll be either Matt or Jeff.
So do I get a backstory here or am I just cold watching this?
But
No
well,
context. Just
I had just there's T.O.
look at
as you
this
see.
great tan. Okay, I see you.
So we're just coming off the WrestleMania 25 win where I beat him in an Extreme Rules match, which shocked everyone. He had all these accidents happen to him, and I was the culprit behind all of those things. And then we had a one-on-one match at WrestleMania 25. I beat him. The following week, I beat him in a stretcher match, and then I beat him in a whole bunch of tag team matches on a European tour, singles matches, street fights. And I beat him in a tag team match right before this, pinned him one more time. So he hadn't beat me over the course of like a month. So now he's trying to
He's
beat
gonna
me.
beat you then.
He's trying to beat me.
The way you're setting this up, you're like,
And this is
he hasn't beaten me for 17 months.
well, I'm just trying to stay factually correct. And then this is like a big I quit match. So the only way you can win this match is to say I quit. And I feel like if he says I quit, finally all these people that love him so much they'll turn on him.
Neither of you are gonna. You're the two most stubborn people I've ever met in your life. Nobody.
Yeah. She's not wrong.
How does this end? Because nobody's saying I quit. I already know
To
that.
be fair, Rebby, Maxwell
16 minute
even
draw.
said earlier, Maxwell said he would never say I quit to Wolfie. So
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, I know. Hey,
we got Gothic Baby.
Okay, bro, we get it. How many? There's 4 turnstiles, right? Like, wow, how long is this going?
Oh, he's over, you know.
I mean, look, I think we should take solace in the fact that Matt Hardy actually won some matches here. It's a nice change of pace.
There you have it.
There he
Okay.
is.
Here we go. Look at this. What about that look,
Look
Maxwell?
at this piece
Oh.
of shit.
There we go.
Fat Hardy.
There we have it.
Listen, it's okay because in our relationship, I went from really skinny to really fat, and he did the opposite. We just switch
Oh,
hot.
gosh.
What? I don't think that's accurate.
I don't think that's accurate.
Why are you mad? Did he bust your face? Why is your?
Why am I mad?
Yeah, he did
Oh.
bust his face. He did bust
You
his
look
face.
swollen. Your eyebrow.
Oh, I did. Well, I just but on the week before that in Europe, he did split me open. That's what happens.
So for
Like,
those unaware,
Oh.
and I
Yeah,
quit,
that was the original Broken Matt Hardy jacket.
it's
Do you know that jacket was the original Broken Matt Hardy jacket?
Look at them curls. Look at them curls.
they are curly.
Yeah. What about my look there, Max? What do you think about it?
Action figure.
Is that a young John Cone, our referee there?
That is a young John Cone.
His son is a tag team champion.
You're right.
Who's his son?
Don't you remember that Nicholas that did the thing with Braun Strowman? Maxwell has a picture with Nicholas.
Okay. Yeah.
Maxwell and him took a picture like looking at each other. Like Maxwell's like, "Bitch, I'm gonna get you one day."
And he might.
Yeah.
So here we go.
This is a pay-per-view?
Yes, this is Backlash.
I told you to win.
Yeah.
So who is more mad? I guess he is more mad.
We're both mad. I'm mad that he is popular and that he took me for granted that I was the brains behind the operation. And he just, he was very happy to be the rock star and he didn't care about me. It was all about him. He was selfish. That's my mentality. And I think with him, he's just like, well, he's a real piece of shit who tried to blow me up in pyros. He tried to burn my house down. He did burn my house down. He killed my dog. That was in the story,
You still say that on TikTok. I still get that comment to this day. Why did Matt kill Jeff's dog? And I'm like, bro.
Well,
So that's why Jeff's mad.
So you're mad and he's big mad.
they should
Yeah.
listen to the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, and they would know the answer to that question. I
Yeah.
like the start of this match here, Matt. I like Jeff coming out, just house of fire, and there's a little bit of wrestling, but there's some brawling too. You powder out, which you've been doing all feud long. I think that's a good way to kind of wrap the storytelling here.
Yeah. We were we definitely had to start with a brawl. We were way past wrestling at this point.
I like the rainbow hair. Reminds me of Wolfie.
It is very Wolfie, yeah. Max was very Matt and Wolfie's very Jeff when it comes to hair in this match.
Using the stairs for poetry in motion. I like that.
Nice poetry.
So why don't you have any where's Shannon, or is he done by the
Oh, he's long gone. Yeah, he was back in 2002, 2003.
Oh, okay.
This is 2009.
Jeff mingling with the fans a little bit. Again, that
Mhm.
connection that we always talk about.
Surprised he didn't start dancing. Just leave you hanging and start dancing. Signature move.
That is his gimmick. Man, I love seeing the
Evie.
arm straps in the crowd among the fans.
Oh yeah, they were like that during this period. They were a number one selling item.
We just brought those on the road the other day.
What?
My collection
yeah.
of Jeff Hardy arm sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Max made the town with us. Yeah.
You always remember your first town.
Oh.
Right there, the refs asked me, said, "Man, do you give it up? Do you give it up? Do you quit?"
And yeah, so for those who have never seen an I Quit match or unfamiliar, the referee is going to hold a microphone to the wrestlers and say, "Do you quit?"
Is he mic'd? Does he have a mic in his
Well,
pocket?
he-
How does he
he-
do it fast enough?
He will grab
Well-
the mic.
They'll hand the mic into the ring.
So unfortunately, due to copyright, we can't go audio up for you. I would love to. but
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we
I
cannot.
just feel like a match like this, right? Tag team partners, dead ass brothers. You've got to know his every move. How do either one of you ever hit any move ever?
Well, the first few times we wrestled, we countered everything. So we got to that point where now we're just we know each other so well we're thinking ahead of the other one.
And that is a great point, Rebby, too, from a psychology perspective. When you're putting a match together like this, it does almost, I think that's part of the reason too, Matt, why there has to be more brawling in it too.
Yeah, of course.
The unpredictable nature.
It's so funny seeing Jeff putting on like a sleeper hold. It's so out of his will box.
Into the corner, there goes T.O. Maxwell, what do you think of T.O. here so far? Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Can you use weapons here, or is that a different kind?
Yeah, anything goes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is anything goes still.
That's kind of actually the point when you start to elevate the stakes of this. You get the weapons involved, and how much will they withstand? How much can they dig deep through?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, basically you have to beat your opponent into a state of submission, where he just says he doesn't want any more.
I kind of wish this was one of those on a pole matches. What would you put on the pole?
I don't know.
Grape juice on a pole.
Great
There you
juice on
go.
a pole.
Oh, there's the mic. Okay.
There's the mic.
Also, I feel like if you're the ref, you've got to feel really dumb, right? Like you're reffing a Jeff Hardy match and you've already seen him do all these crazy, like extreme things, and like he gets thrown out of the ring, and you're like, "Did you quit? Like, are you done?"
Korean barbecue on a pole.
And then he comes to me.
Barbecue on a pole. Hey.
He
I
comes
know
to
my
me and says,
Hardy's
"I know you're the guy that will not die, but do you quit?"
Oh boy, the Hardy family jewels in jeopardy here.
Oh no.
There's nothing for you to say. Oh no, oh no about it's not yours.
Being
To the knee. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a mutually beneficial item there.
I'm manipulating enough for the both of them. Honestly. Maybe that's why he's got only girls.
Mm.
Or more.
Look at you, like a modified figure 4 here.
Mm-hmm.
Rebby, what do you think of him in the tights and not the kick pants?
I think he just looks like an action figure. That's like he looks like a little toy. That's all I think of. Like, because I mean, the body on the toys too, and the way his legs are, like it just looks. I've only ever seen that in toy form, really. So he just
You do
looks
kind of
like
look like an action figure.
The tight pants. It's cute. You need to eat some more rice and beans, though.
Fatten up a little more.
Get some more behind.
My math fact was about you today that I partake in hot sauce because of you.
Nice.
So yeah, I put it on rice and beans.
Except I did nothing for the wrestling business.
Yeah, I like it on eggs too.
Why'd you do that?
I did. That was unintentional. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
What's your favorite way to eat eggs? What's your favorite way to have eggs?
Mine.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite thing's an omelet, but I mean, I would say.
I thought you would have said fertilized.
Oh, very good. Very good. Very good.
My favorite type of egg is the shell. Like, like you boil it and then you
hard-boiled eggs?
Yes.
Yeah, the
nice.
hard-boiled shell, not the yellow.
Yeah, you like
the
the white.
yeah.
You like the protein. You're very health conscious.
Oh, that looks
By the way, Matt Hardy and I got our factor meals this past week.
Yeah, she was there when I was packing them. Yeah, she took
They claimed some smoothies.
3 of the smoothies.
Look good
Oh,
as hell.
they were so good.
Yeah. They are
Factormeals.com/Hardy50, promo code Hardy50, 50% off your first box.
You know, I gotta tell you, I had one here that I drank, and King Maxwell drank half of it at least.
Love it.
Probably more, probably 3/4.
This isn't even an ad. We're just saying this arbitrarily.
Yeah, right.
It's
The leg there.
Knee action. It's like making me cringe, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like everything else is kind of hard to work, but like knee stuff is just like
Yeah. But I love that
you gotta
psychology.
go all in, like
That's like basic great heel psychology. Like Ric Flair was the master of working knees. You're digging into a lot of Flair influence here. Even just how you're doing the figure 4, pounding the mat with the back of your elbows. I mean, that's great stuff.
Thank you. Jeff and I, we were big fans of the Kurt Hennig when him and Bret Hart did the thing where he was kicking his leg out and Kurt Hennig was doing the backflip off of it, landing on his head. We loved that so much.
thank you.
That was heavily inspirational to both of us, especially if we're working on a leg. We always try and get those spots in.
I always get a crack too out of the way that you reverse the figure 4. Oh, you turn it over, reverse the pressure.
Yeah, that is a pretty funny moment.
So where's the crowd right now? Are they split or is everybody got a favorite?
It was really tough. Even like going after this, like.
Well, wait, real quick, man, not to cut you off. If you just saw the crowd, you see the crowd now, they're looking in another direction. There's actually a fight going on in the crowd right now.
Yes. Yeah, actually, and we were just told that. And I did this on the fly.
Like a shoot fight in the
There's
crowd?
a shoot fight in the crowd going on. That's
What
why
the
all
hell
the
are you
crowd
fighting about?
drunk people doing their
They're
thing.
funny.
So this is all improv right here?
Yes, whenever I stopped him there and I hooked this on, yes.
So
because they were trying to clear the fight, stop
Okay.
the fight, and get those people out of here.
So that is being communicated to you.
Yes, John Cohn had.
Interesting.
People over here pay to see a fight and they're over here looking in the crowd instead.
Yeah, again, this big Hardy blow off.
So I think now it's done and we're back to action as usual. So you got to keep in mind. So the referee's got an earpiece in where he gets information from the back from Gorilla. You know, and he's being told like, wait, there's a fight. Tell them to stop, put a hold on, sit in place before you get back to action because no one's going to be watching. That's basically the mentality. Anytime there's like a fight in the crowd or some sort of big incident. And then we get back to our stuff of me trying to work over Jeff's knee.
This is gnarly. I like this.
God. That's so crazy.
Because
I like that.
my goal here in doing this from a psychology standpoint was to, Jeff's main weapon is the Swanton bomb. So if I take out his leg, he can't climb the ropes. That's kind of what I was hoping for.
That's open. That's half open.
And it was a good image too.
That's close.
Go to
Oh,
the
thank
top.
you. Thank you, sweetheart.
Good things never happen when you all go to the top, Matt.
Oh, thank you. All right, I'll just set it over here.
Down you go. Oh,
Oh, a whisper in the wind with the hurt knee. Hopefully he goes back to selling it immediately.
hopefully.
Yeah, it
Long match.
the crowd was good, and I feel like too, because it was different, because it was an I Quit match, and as I told you before, yes, Evie, I'm gonna tell him too. I'll tell you also. I was really working hard to like be a diehard heel, like with no redeeming qualities, and also if that meant like I wanted to keep the action going and like keep the pace up, but I also wanted to like really chop him down and like really work over his knee and like make his knee seem like it was in jeopardy to a degree, and like it's great that we're doing a little bit of a comeback for Jeff right here because the crowd needs that at some point. They can only take some of the other stuff for just a certain amount of time.
A clover leaf.
Yeah.
Wow. Can't say I've seen that in the Jeff Hardy arsenal. Now, I don't like this, Matt. You're submitting, which is a form of quitting.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
No, but you had to say the words "I quit."
You had to
Look at
say
that.
the words
so
I
if
quit.
you tap, it doesn't matter.
No. That was just done to be a chicken shit heel. Like he would have lost. Like, what a pussy. As opposed to saying "I quit," he's still tapping. But you had to actually say the actual words "I quit" was the only way we could lose this. Like a tap did not count.
Has there been
No?
I Quit matches before this? Is this the thing?
Yes. There have been I Quit matches before this.
Yes, there has been.
What was he supposed to hit the twist of fate there and it just went awry and they did it again, or was that on purpose?
I think so. I don't even remember that in all actuality, but I mean that's the only thing I really think could have happened then.
That was very random.
Yeah, that was very random.
Swanton.
I only think of Maxwell when I see a swanton though.
Yeah, Maxwell. We've been seeing all those videos on social media of him trying to practice his best swanton. Hopefully we get to see one soon.
What are you going to call your version of the swanton bomb, Maxwell? Are you going to specialize it?
So we've seen one.
Maybe the danger bomb.
Danger bomb.
Danger flip.
We got one. We got two.
Oh.
I'm a big fan of symmetry and the rule of thirds, especially in wrestling, but symmetry in particular. So I liked seeing two from him. And now we got the Extreme Rules match at WrestleMania. So how do we top it? Well, we got this I Quit match with the water bottles, right?
With the Gatorade.
Yeah.
Get the ginger ale.
Bring it. Oh, no, don't let Wolfie hear that. I mean, don't let Barty hear that.
There's no straw babies there.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We want tables, Matt. Tables are always going to get a pop. You know that.
Yeah, they were chanting "We want tables," if I'm not mistaken, at one point in this match.
Your favorite shoe?
There we go. Setting up the table.
Thank God we were going there.
Feel like we're in the last chapter of this match here. And for the first time this entire feud, Jeff finally has the upper hand on you.
It was pretty funny. I remember where they asked if Jeff had a hold he could grab at some point in there, and Jeff's like, I don't really know. And I want to say it was like Dean Malenko that actually. This is me with a twist right here. It was Dean Malenko that showed him that version of the cloverleaf there. They just said, "Oh, okay, sure, I'll do that. I'll do that. That'll be fine."
That would make sense because I was going to say I never saw him do it again after this.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
So far, has anybody come close to saying the words? Like, has anybody said like,
I
or
may
we get into that?
I think that's
I may have after the Swantons. I'm not sure what I said.
And I feel like we're in that part of a movie now where the villain, the hero is going to win, and the villain is on their last limbs, and now you're just waiting for that kill shot.
Just imagine Whoopi doing this to you. Watch this, Maxwell. Imagine if Whoopi did this to you. Watch what he's doing. What do you think he's gonna do?
Tie me to a table?
He's got rope and he's got
Like
tape.
gaffer's tape? What is that?
Take me to a tape.
Duct tape?
That is duct tape, yes.
Taping his legs.
Oh, duct taping me.
The duct tape.
John Cohn's trying to get your attention, but you're just so
Not the
out of it.
duct tape. Look, trying to like push out, it will roll off the table.
About to put you in an episode of Saw.
See, that would be a smart thing, Maxwell, for him to roll off the table, but
Should have. You're right. I wish I'd been thinking about it.
now I want to say this real quick, Matt, before we see what's about to happen. Like when you take your arms and your legs out of something like this, I mean, your arms, especially in wrestling, are so important because forget even hitting moves, but from a protection standpoint, they are your best friends. When you take
Yes.
that out of the element, I mean, you're leaving a lot of things up to chance here.
We were, and even him tying this, we went over this
This is somebody's fetish. I just
earlier
know
in the
it.
day.
Yeah, his name was Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
I can tell you this, Vince didn't think the taping the hands together was a good idea, and in hindsight, looks like he was right.
He might have been. Right.
But Jeff was positive that he could land right on my chest. He said I'll either land on your chest or I'll land on your legs when we break the tape. He said, but I won't hit your hands. He said I'm confident about that.
So you're begging him right now.
So I'm begging him.
And now we won't be able to hear what you're
So
going to say.
I'll tell you what is going on here. What is happening. So they're bringing me Mike. Like it is a great scenario though. Like look at me. Like I'm looking. He's pulling that ladder. Like my hands are taped. My feet are taped.
Do some scooting booty.
This is good though. I like this. Like we're seeing the faces.
Yeah. The facial reactions, and I'm just like, don't you don't want to do this, Jeff.
It's like a magic show how long this is taking. Like, I feel like I wish he'd do a little pose or something, like magician's assistant. And
Bunny
now-
comes out.
I'm saying, Jeff,
Next trick.
I'm just saying, Jeff, I was wrong. I love you. I love you. I don't know this. Yeah, like my expression. So then eventually, and he's just like, no more talking. Just say I quit. So he,
Well, wouldn't I'm sorry be more meaningful than I quit?
what?
That's what most people ever want to hear. I'm
So
sorry.
here you
Well,
go. Now you're
yeah,
getting
maybe
Mike.
so. I think we'd kind of we were past the
Tell us what you're saying here.
So right here, I'm saying, Mom, I said, our mom in heaven, she wouldn't want to see this. She wouldn't want you to do the move. She wouldn't want you to do the move. I said, our dad is going to kill him if you do this move. You can't do it, Jeff. If you do this move, it's going to kill our dad. And he's just like, as opposed to saying I quit. And then eventually when Jeff doesn't back down and acts like he's not going to do it, and I just go right here, and I go, this is what I'm telling him. You know, our parents wouldn't like it. It's gonna kill our dad. Our mother wouldn't want it. She wouldn't want it. Don't break her heart in heaven, Jeff. Don't break her heart in heaven. I was putting it on deep. And then eventually he's just still going to come. And then eventually
I cursed you after this match.
and then eventually go, I quit.
Oh,
You said you wanted to go back to being the Hardy Boys tag team too.
Yeah.
all that.
Oh,
I mean, I did
Am I
everything.
ready?
I did everything I could to try and talk him down.
So you just said I quit.
He's not yet.
No, I haven't yet.
I thought you said you did say
He's
I
about
quit.
to say
That's
it.
where I get. I mean, I don't remember.
Hey, you just said it. There you go. You just said
there.
it.
I just said I quit right there. I
So
said,
Jeff-
fine, I quit. So Jeff starts coming down. The people start booing. They start booing, right?
And yep, boom. They're going nuts. Everyone's going crazy.
Yeah.
Now, on the
I like how
surface-
they give you so much entertainment.
well, Rebby, on the surface, that just looked like Matt going through a table, but something much more significant happened out of that, Matt.
Something poke him did the metal poke you or what?
No, he saw my hands. It broke my hand in two places.
It broke your hand?
Yeah.
Oh, so he landed on your hand.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean,
Yeah, what you said about my mom?
yeah.
Wow. What the hell?
So
Oh,
Jeff
gross.
Hardy.
Where's it broken?
It was broke through this area in a couple places.
Oh,
Did you
man.
know immediately it was broken?
Yeah. I knew. I knew it was messed up.
They are going nuts for him.
Wow. Oh, my favorite part was you being a little bitch at the end. That was
We should go back and listen to it with volume. You would really like it. I was a mega bitch at the end.
You gotta be feeling good.
He just leaves you there, China.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Like I know you're in pain, but like that is the big emotional blow off to your story, and it got over. I mean, how were you feeling about it?
good. I was pretty happy with it. I'm sure that deal that if he wouldn't do the twist and I was like taking it and he ran off, I'm sure that bummed me out during the match. But overall, I was pretty happy with it. And just still, we were trying to conduct a match that wasn't like a standard extreme Hardy Boys match. You know, I was trying to like wrestle. I was trying to like take his knee out. I was trying to make him submit in every way possible, and take out the knee. So I mean, I thought we had a good story and we had a good deal, and I really like the finish with how it came off. He hit me with swanton after swanton, several twist of fates, one on the floor, and eventually gets me on that table. And then you know, he tapes me up, ties me down, and goes up and pulls my punk card, especially when I'm trying to like bitch out of it.
That's funny.
You know,
Was
and
it the most difficult match you guys ever had?
you know, it kind of was. I mean, it wasn't like necessarily our style, because typically you would do many more submission holds and try and make the guy say I quit in that way. You know, that would be the traditional way of doing this match. So it was different like that. But also I really enjoyed it as kind of being out of our comfort zone and doing something new. Me specifically, you know, and I think Jeff did too. But we really dug the finish, and we were super happy with how the finish came off.
And it's the classic bad guy getting their comeuppance, right? At the end of all this,
Sure.
the bad guy got his ass kicked, and the
Yeah.
good guy walked away, like at the end of every Western, and everyone's happy. Everyone goes home happy. Rebby, how many stars out of 5 are you giving that match?
I would say 5 just for the end.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Thank you,
seeing.
thank you, Rebecca Meltzer.
Wow, that
We
was
got a good ass
beautiful.
Matt from Alex. Alex wants to know, is this when you began to show signs of brokenness? Get it? Because you broke your hand.
We weren't quite there yet, but I did show a little bit of brokenness, obviously, with my hand being broken a couple places.
Yeah. Will wants to know, was this your favorite match against your brother?
No, I enjoyed this match. I still say my favorite match against Jeff is the WrestleMania 25 Extreme Rules match. I mean, that was like our dream as kids growing up. Like, what if our two big things that we want to accomplish? What if one day we could win the WWE World Tag Team titles just one time? Like, oh my God, then we've done it. That's all we want to do. And the other thing was like, we want to wrestle each other in WrestleMania, you know, on a WrestleMania card. And we were one of the marquee matches that year. So that was really, really cool.
And Shadeth wants to know, what was the feeling backstage with management and other superstars about this awesome match?
They were happy with the match. I think they were happy with the match. They were disappointed that I got injured in it and suffered the broken hand. But as you know, the next day I went and got a cast, and then they just left me on TV and they turned my cast into a gimmick. I didn't take any time off. I worked every TV. I started doing run-ins on house shows after that too. So I stayed working full time after that, following that broken hand. The next night on Raw, I actually wrestled Goldust, and they wanted my whole gimmick to become knocking the opponent out with the cast, you know, using it to my advantage.
Little Cowboy Bob.
Little Cowboy Bob, yeah.
I like to hear that.
Well, good job. It
Well,
was a very
thank you.
nice match. When
Thank
was
you.
it, 2009?
2009, yes.
Now you can take 2 weeks off and retire, Matt.
Yeah,
There you go. Take
I'm-
2 weeks off, quit the business.
I'm waiting on that. Taking 2 weeks off, quitting the business. I just want to be the Willman for the Hardy Boys Gen 2.
Queen Rebecca, always great to see you here, and we're excited to see what will come of the Firm Deletion. I know it's going to be great, and everyone's going to love that. And I want to remind you guys too, if you want to be part of the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, head on over to advertisewithhardy.com. Get your business, get your promotion out in front of thousands and thousands of listeners and viewers every single week. And check out Rebecca Hardy's TikTok as well. Plug that for us. Tell us, where can we find all the
Plug
Gothic Baby content?
Yeah, Life of a Gothic Baby series on TikTok, on Instagram. It's at Rebby Hardy. Reby. Rhymes with Debbie. Rebby Hardy. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebby. And Matt, of course, every single week we ask our friends who enjoy the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy to leave us that 5-star review. Where can they do that?
They can do that in a couple different ways. You can go to Twitter. You can go to Facebook. You can go to Instagram, you can go to the YouTube page, and you can leave a comment underneath and tell us what you thought of the particular podcast. And if you get a chance to go to any of our actual podcast outlets and platforms, which would be Apple or Spotify or YouTube, leave us a review and tell us what you liked about it, why it was good. And if you think it's a 5-star, please give us 5 stars, because those things help us out greatly. It helps put a lot of equity into the extreme life of Matt Hardy, and it makes other viewers want to come check us out.
So glad that we covered this Jeff Hardy feud. I know it's been one of our most talked about topics that people have wanted to hear from on the extreme life of Matt Hardy, and I can't believe that it's already behind us now. Episode 70 in the books here. Next week, we're going to be talking about someone that I know you've got a lot of respect for in the wrestling world. He's a good friend of yours, and he's one half of the WWE Unified Tag Team Champions. I, of course, am talking about Mr. Kevin Owens.
Oh, yeah.
Celebrating a birthday, I believe, this week. What can people look forward to when we talk about your friend Kevin Owens / Kevin Steen?
I mean, I think Kevin Steen / Kevin Owens, I think he's a guy who has defied a lot of odds. He was a guy that wasn't built like the typical wrestler was when he was coming up. Always very talented, a great speaker, great promo in 2 different languages. Speaks very fluently in both English and French. And I knew after working with him in Ring of Honor, like he was a very, very special talent. And there were guys who were very critical of him because his body shape and his body size didn't look like everybody else. But he's just he's proved the disbelievers wrong, and I love to see it.
I love to see it. I can't wait to listen to it. ExtremeHardy.com. Make sure you're subscribed. Anything else you'd like to add, my friend, as we approach the Firm Deletion?
Yeah, tonight I believe it's going to be at 6:30 on TNT. Please check it out, the Firm Deletion. We're very excited about this, and I think regardless of what kind of wrestling fan you are, if you are a diehard fan that loves the in-ring product through and through more than anything else, I think if you're someone who really loves the entertainment value more than anything else, and you want a spectacle and you want moments and you also want to chuckle a little bit, I think this match has something for everyone. So you're going to enjoy it tonight. The Firm Deletion on AEW Rampage at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
I hear noises going on behind you. I believe that means the words have been spoken. This has been the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. We'll see you next week.
Adios, my friends.
My skin's dying.